Morning.
Hey, good morning. And so we put a little bar, so he's on an unofficial list.
Okay.
So he has free room, kitten room is completely open. Cat room, excuse me.
Okay. And the cat's
Just roam around.
That's so nice.
And then the cool part is you can sit down and those who want to come up to you guys come up to you.
Right.
And you can just sit there. It's my calming station.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I've had a stress week, I just go up to the cat room and sit and let them all come to me.
I have two kittens and they yeah, they're both very much affectionate dogs.
Yes. I foster mama cats and kittens. So right now I have a mama cat that has some health issues. Her kittens have been adopted. But mama cat is not really adoptable because she can't do
Stop, and now I've got all this yarn.
I have tried to
Figure out something that I'm gonna like.
several times. That's
Right.
So she doesn't throw
No,
up.
it's right. I mean, the first cat I fostered, the pandemic, they threw up.
Oh,
We
yeah.
could not figure out what it was, and we tried it. So, is this going to be live streamed?
Yes.
Cool. Is that okay?
I'm very good.
Sorry, I didn't know. I didn't forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, if that's okay.
You're on YouTube. Okay, awesome. So I can critique myself.
I might be able to figure out the microphone. And I'm thinking to myself, as soon as we were done last week, I figured out I'm moving.
Yeah.
Not that I really want to play with snails, but
Yeah.
they were a little,
Just a cool idea. If so, I
Anybody up there?
Yeah, it's not even 9:30.
if anybody out there trying to start, I'll volunteer to help.
well, there are a few, and talk to Sister Bonnie, because she, they have a garden that, they dedicated it for, that group, that one, Advocacy Farm Project, really has a lot of opportunities and volunteering. Right. You can go to that thing that.
I have it on my calendar, it's Sunday.
Sunday, yes.
It's on my
Yeah, it's on my calendar
Looks
too.
great.
Yeah, and that's one of their fundraiser events.
Okay.
So, it's lots of vendors and they bring, vendors.
Check.
and
There we go.
tables, which is how they.
Right.
Do you want to hold it
I
or?
love stuff like that.
Yeah. But it's nice.
Start from here.
Tree covered and walk around
Yeah,
and
it's
enjoy.
like peaceful.
Yeah.
I asked her if they run
So I
retreats
can-
there, she said yes.
Yes, it's
It's Roman Catholic, so I don't ever
Yep.
hear about.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I guess you just get on their website, and get on their mailing list kind of thing, which I've never actually done.
Yeah.
But,
It's on my list, big to-do list, which is ever growing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we were talking about, I don't know what we were talking about, but she said,
Mary Ann,
said something about the diocese.
volume back here, right? Go back to the computer to start things.
Oh, okay.
Just if it's too loud, then it's
So,
back here.
they have overnight accommodation. She said that they
Yeah,
have,
and it'll like.
she said they have 37 rooms, and each room has 2 beds, so so they must have overnight.
They must.
And then they have a school, so there's a school there. But yeah, she was, I'm so glad she went first because,
Hold up while you're here.
sort of, I'm not a tree planter kind of thing,
Right.
This was great that she sort of set an example of how we could pull this off.
Right.
So, yeah, she really set us up,
Go on there.
gave us a good example of how to do that.
And she's so upbeat.
Oh, yeah, oh my gosh.
And that's the camera over there, so you can look right at the camera, but it'll be mostly from that side.
Okay.
I've never seen Fern Gully, I don't know how I missed it, because I had
It's
3
one of
daughters.
those
Yeah. It was after they married, I don't remember, but I said, I'll come to that.
I wrote the year down, but now I don't remember.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that our kids are probably, we're probably older.
Maybe that's what it is.
It's probably newer than that.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello?
Good morning. Is this loud enough? Too loud?
No,
Okay, good volume. Thank you so much for joining us this morning for our adult forum. So as some of you may know, this week we're celebrating the Saint Francis of Assisi. And aside from being a saint in the Catholic Church, he's also celebrated in the Episcopal Church. And he lived a really amazing life. He founded the Order of the Franciscans and did a lot of really amazing things. And one of the things he's well known for is that he loved animals and had a rapport with them. So often, St. Francis Sunday is when we also think about animals. And the month of October is creation care, and animals are part of creation. So today specifically we're thinking about how do we care for animals in creation. And so in order to do that, we reached out to Peaceable Kingdom, which is a volunteer-run organization that helps animals who don't have a place to live and don't have a family to love them. And so we have Cindy here, who is a member of the board. She's the secretary of their board. And she's going to talk about what they do and talk about kind of what's going on with the animals in our world today.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Again, my name is Cynthia Kinley Thomas. You can call me Cindy. I've been with Peaceful Kingdom since probably 2006, and I've been on their board of directors since about 2006.
One of those places, right?
One of those places. Once you've done volunteer work in the animal community, it's in your blood and you can't stop. It's almost like an addiction in a way, because you're doing good, and doing good is a wonderful addiction in my book. But I want to tell you a little bit about myself first, because you can tell from my voice I'm not from around here. Anybody think they know where I'm from?
I heard you say.
Huh?
I heard you say.
That's cheating, Philip. Don't cheat aloud.
I'm born and raised from Texas, and I came up here in 1996. And because I love the Four Seasons, I love the snow. I know I'm crazy, but I've always.
No, you're not. That's why I'm not west.
And I love this area. I have been asked, why don't you go back to Texas now that I'm no longer with my significant other? I said, I love it here. I love the people. I love the scenery. Down in Texas, I love it. Don't get me wrong. If you look at my Facebook page, it says Texas everywhere. But I love the hills, the mountains, the trees, the people, and it's an amazing place to live. And plus, I don't miss the heavy traffic from the Fort Worth, Dallas area. And if you've been there, you know what I mean. Hi, welcome. So, I began in 2006 as a foster for Peaceable Kingdom. There was a lady that had health issues, and she had her own little rescue. So we had to rescue her. And I took one of her cats, and we wound up, it was a foster fail. That means we kept it. So I asked the lady that ran it at the time, what can I do? Because she basically just gave me the cat at the time. Just keep the cat. If you love the cat, keep the cat. And I says, what can I do? And she goes, well, what did you do? Or what can you do? And I go, well, I did fundraising for the bank I was working for. Suddenly, through the phone line, I saw the light bulb go across her head. Bing! Well, I started doing fundraising for the shelter. And I did that for quite a while, and then I was elected to the board, and then I was elected as the secretary, because I was the only one that had a computer at the time, so I could do the minutes for the meetings and mail them and email them out. So that's how I became involved. I want to give you a little information about Peaceable Kingdom, and I'm going to have to read this, because even though I memorized this, I'm a little nervous, so forgive me if I stutter. Peaceable Kingdom was founded in 1998 as one of the first no-kill shelters in the Lehigh Valley. Everybody had every shelter, larger shelter in the area was a kill shelter at the time, back in 1998. So a group of friends, through foster homes, started taking in cats and kittens and started adopting them out, making sure they're healthy, and they started growing. So they got a physical place in Whitehall, and then that became too small. And does anybody know where the Lehigh Dairy is? We're right across from the Lehigh Dairy. There used to be a pet store there. So we took in a portion of this pet store, and we've grown since now that we bought the whole property. So we're in a process of doing a building fund. We're renovating the property, bring it up to code, and make it a little bit more user-friendly for our animals and our volunteers. So if, here we are, you've probably seen it if you've been to Allentown on MacArthur Road, going towards Allentown. You've probably seen our beautiful painted building. What we do, I'm going to read this to you. It's from our mission. Our mission is to provide care, protection, and assistance to animals who are mistreated, injured, abandoned, or otherwise in need. To offer low-cost veterinary services to provide all pet owners a place to get care for their pets. To minimize animal overpopulation through low-cost spay-neuter clinics. To create community awareness, as I'm doing today. To gain support of animal needs through educational purposes. Continue to expand our facility for cats and dogs, and now guinea pigs and rabbits. In order to do this, we must make structural changes and repairs. In 2004 is when a larger building on MacArthur Road was leased to us by the owners, Betty Crisco and her mother, Mary Hebert. They are descendants of the Zimmermans, who used to own the dairy that used to be in that area. When you say, you remember Zimmerman Market, if anybody's been in the area a while. They are the last descendants of the farmer, Mr. Zimmerman, who owned all that land that used, before MacArthur Road or 7th Street was completed. There was dairy there, and that's the reason why you see the old dairy across the street from us. That's where they processed the milk for that dairy. And the Zimmerman Markets is where they sold the milk. And we're very grateful for them for actually selling us the building. And that way we can continue our mission of helping animals in the Lehigh Valley. We offer many services in our veterinary care clinic. We have on-site adoptions, and we also have adoptions at the PetSmart in Whitehall on MacArthur Road for kittens. We do that because kittens, their immune system is not quite ready to be with other animals. So we keep them separate in foster homes. So we do that on Saturdays. And we have wonderful kitten volunteers who foster the kittens. They make sure they're healthy. They make sure they get them to the PetSmart on pretty much every Saturday. So the public can view them. Ooh, this is on wheels. So we have a wonderful, we have lots of fosters for our cats, for our kittens, for our dogs, puppies, and rabbits and guinea pigs. And I'm very proud of what they have done in these last few years. And we're so looking forward to finishing up our renovations that we may offer more for this community in the Lehigh Valley for people who are low income. That's part of our mission, to help those who have low income, to help them We keep our prices as low or as competitive as possible. We're no frills. I mean, it's not like everybody brings in their animals first thing in the morning, and then the vet takes care of the business of whatever needs to get done to that animal, spay, neuter, usually. And in the afternoon, you can pick up your animal. And we don't have overnight services for that, so we definitely might consider that in the future, but at this point, we can't because of our lack of, we have the space, just the lack of it being utilized more efficiently. So do I have any questions so far?
Are you going to tell us about the volunteers who work there, who volunteer there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We have the amazing volunteers, and we're strictly, I'm going to say 90% volunteer. We do have some paid staff for the clinic and for other services that we have, like we have a dog manager, an assistant dog manager, and we have the cat person. She's in charge of doing adoptions and cats. And we only have just a few people that we have to pay for because they're what they can offer to us. Like we have to have a paid staff for the veterinary clinic. We always need volunteers, absolutely. We start at 6 o'clock in the morning to walk the dogs till 6 o'clock at night because our dogs get walked at least 3 times a day. We don't have we don't have outside kennels, so the dogs have to be walked several times a day. We don't keep the puppies there at the shelter because puppies need to go out many times, as you know.
What's the population of your shelter right now?
We have probably, this is going to be a guesstimate.
Yep.
We probably have about 50 cats, and they're all in a room that are free roaming. So if you free roaming. So if you volunteer or just want to come by, you can go into the cat room, sit, and all the friendly cats will come up to you and let you pet them. And we keep it that way so it's better for the cats. They're not in cages.
Right.
The only time we cage a cat is in case there's an issue with health, or a couple of times we'll have one that maybe doesn't like to get along with other cats. They would, be the only cat in the house kind of thing. We've had a couple of those.
And what's the population of dogs? How many dogs are there?
We've had a large amount of dogs that went out over the weekend to be adopted. Yay, adoption team. So we have about 4 or 5 small dogs, and we have about maybe 10 larger dogs, and a couple of dogs and puppies that are in foster care.
What's the process to adopt a dog? What do you have to go through in order to get a dog?
Believe it or not, you don't have to jump through hoops. What we like to do when on our adoption team look for is your past history. They like to get your vet information, like if you've had animals before or currently have animals. We like to, get something from the vet saying that this person is wonderful, or this family is wonderful, they take good care of their animals. We try to be able to fit the person or fit the animal to the family. Because if you have like a hyperactive lab or any other type of high energy dog, or working dog as I call them, you don't want to put it with an older couple that, basically just walk around, take walks every day, because this type of dog would be way too much for them. Or we make sure that this dog is kid friendly. A lot of dogs don't like kids. A lot of people don't like kids, but that's another story. So we try to make sure it's a good fit. As you know, the homeless animals population in the Lehigh Valley is horrible right now because people are in a very stressful situation where they cannot take care of their animals and they either dump them. We've actually, domestic rabbits, or we find them in parks because people just let them go, thinking, oh, they'll take care of themselves. They're a rabbit. No. Dogs will kill them, cats will kill them, birds will kill them, and they love humans, so they'll come up to any human and get somebody that's not a very nice person. That cat's going to get tortured. That rabbit's going to get tortured. So we try to home house any domestic, adoptable animals here in the Lehigh Valley. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Do you support any trap, neuter, release programs?
Absolutely. We offer thank you for asking. We offer special rates for people who trap, neuter, and release. That means like a cat colony. They'll trap the latest kitten or cat, and then they bring it in a cage. We will tip the ear, make sure it has all its shots, make sure it's spayed neutered, and then they can take it back and release it back into the wild. Because some cats, as you know, are very feral, and it's not fair to them to try to, especially if they're an older cat, it's not fair to them to try to domesticate an animal who's all their life they've been out in the wild.
We're going to keep asking questions if that's all right. Or
No, that's what I need you to do.
So I'm curious, in a larger picture, what's the current state of the availability of, for instance, veterinarians versus the population of animals that are growing in Lehigh Valley? I keep hearing really horror stories about getting access to vets.
Absolutely, that is true. It took us a while to get a vet that could give us at least 1 or 2 days a week. The situation is that the vets, there is such a vet shortage and vet tech shortage that we have to pay them a little bit more because it's only 1 or 2 days a week.
Right.
And since we're a shelter, we don't have that. We have overhead, and we don't have that, and we can only offer spay neuter at this time because most of the vets that we have 3 vets. They can only do 1 or 2 days at a time, and they work for other veterinary practices, and they have to sign what you call a non-compensatory. They can't compete with their own practice, so they can only do certain things. They're only allowed to do certain things, not competing with the practice that they're already at. So that gives us a harder time to find someone who's willing or able to give us more than a day or 2 at a time.
If someone comes to you with a pet, we just can't afford it anymore, are there ways to try to keep that pet in that household? Are you able to provide food? Are you able to provide other support so that they can keep the pet? Or?
Absolutely, good question. We offer food, we offer support, and we do the best we can for that animal. If the animal is in distress, say not doing well, having a health issue, we'll ask if they want to go ahead and surrender because that's the only way we can bring the animal in and make sure it's healthy. Because since we're a no-kill, that doesn't mean no-kill. We do euthanize in a couple of situations. One is extreme aggression. That means they can turn on a dime. There's something wrong in the head. I mean, every dog is a great dog, but sometimes certain dogs have a trigger. And like people have triggers, something will set them off. And we have to be very careful about that because it is a liability. And if we have dogs out there that have a tendency to bite, we would no longer be in business because the liability would be absolutely horrific. And we try to do as best we can with what we got and how many people we have, because we're always needing more volunteers. Everybody in the Lehigh Valley, all the shelters in the Lehigh Valley are suffering right now. We need volunteers. Most of our volunteers are actually older people, because this is what we love. This is our life. This is how we give back to our community. So we need to get our kids involved more. We need to get more younger people involved, because I said yesterday to the adoption team, because they were looking for people to help with adoptions, I go, put a note out there saying, it's going to look great on a resume.
Do you have any club opportunities, say like for a youth group to come in and do a volunteer day, or for like a Girl Scout group or something
Absolutely.
like that?
Absolutely. I just did 2 events. One was a family did a lemonade stand. And so they sold lemonade, and they took the money and they bought items for the shelter. And they actually made blankets for us, which was beautiful. And they came by, dropped everything off, and I gave them a tour of the shelter. I also had Girl Scouts that make things for the shelter as part of their, to get one of their badges. And we do that same thing for Boy Scouts. We'll bring them in and let them tour the shelter. Because of dogs and situation, we cannot, unless they're 18 or older, they cannot basically volunteer. But if they're younger, say 16, 17, as long as they come in with a parent or guardian, we can let them help out at the shelter, but that guardian has to be with them at all times. That's for insurance purposes, liability, things like that. But we do have companies that come in. We just had PP&L came in and did a day with us. They cleaned up the backyard. We have a black walnut tree back there, and if anybody knows about black walnuts, we had to get them up because people could walk on them, hurt their ankle, and when they get crushed, they get black everywhere. Used to have one in my backyard, so I know that. So our doors are always open for people who want to help. But we do ask that if you're going to commit, it's a lifetime commitment to me. Even if it's 1 or 2 days a month, 1 day a month, as long as you're consistent, we would love to have you. Or if you just want to do it one time, just contact our volunteer through our website, and you can make set up a time to come in. We do have times where our volunteer coordinator will have training days, so you can come in and help clean out the dog pens. One thing, if you've ever been to Peaceable Kingdom, one thing you always know, when you walk in, you don't smell the animals. I love that. I've been in shelters before where you walk in and that hits you. But no, you can walk in any time of the day and our shelter is smelling clean. You don't smell the animals. We keep a very clean, tight shelter, and I'm so proud of that, because I've been to like the one in Easton. I can walk in and there's dogs there because they smell. And I do love the fact that we bathe our dogs, we keep them clean, we brush them, we make them as happy as possible. Peaceable Kingdom is not a sanctuary. We are what I call a halfway house. What we do is we get the animals. Sometimes we bring them up from the south because local homeless animals are usually the pit bull mix, and a lot of people don't want those. And I understand why, because of their reputation. Even though the greatest dog I've ever had was a pit bull. Because it's not the bad dog, it's the bad person who took care of that dog, who trained it to be mean. So we bring animals in from the south, and we also get kittens from the south, because sometimes locally we don't have enough kittens. So we do use other shelters, and we bring some in. And you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, I did, but what's the expectation for how long you would be fostering on that?
Depending on the type of dog, if it's a puppy, we don't bring puppies or kittens in the shelter because of their immune system. We set up meet and greets for puppies, usually at the shelter, but not in the shelter. And older dogs, we ask you bring them in on Saturdays, because that Saturday is our only day that we're open to the public for dogs. Because of the way our shelter is right now, we can only do dogs one day, cats another. Simply because, you know, when you get dogs and cats together, and it's one small area, so we do dogs on Saturday and cats on Sundays and during the week. So our shelter, because we don't have paid regular staff, we can't be open to the public all the time.
So a puppy would be how many weeks if you were fostering?
How long would you be looking until it gets adopted?
Depending on the dog. Most of our puppies get adopted within a couple of weeks, because everybody's looking for puppies.
An older dog you're planning on?
Yeah, we've had.
Mine was 10 months.
10 months you had to foster?
It depends. Like I said, we ask you to bring your fosters on Saturday so the public can see them. Or we have them on our website that you set up. You can do an individual meet and greet. And we do have people that'll meet with you during the week if you can't come on a Saturday with a foster, or if you just want to come in and see the dogs. You can set up an appointment for individual during the week. You just have to contact.
And how long do you foster kittens for?
Till they get adopted.
Till they get adopted.
Usually we wait until they're about 2.5 pounds to get them spayed neutered. We make sure all our kittens are spayed neutered, all their shots are up to date before we can even let them have to be adopted out.
So when I agree to foster, you're going to make me come out on Saturdays, because I can't imagine how many times do people not part with the dog or the pet that they
Those are called foster fails.
How many of those do you have, I'm asking?
Amazing amount.
I would think.
My cat that I originally started with Peaceful Kingdom back in 2006 was a foster fail. She was a big, gray, fluffy cat named Tabby. She came in with the name Lucky, and I'm thinking, Lucky for a big, fluffy, gray cat? No, I named her Tabitha, Tabby. We kept her until she passed away about 2 or 3 years ago.
A harder question, I don't know, maybe you can answer this. With economics changing and the population growing, what is are you seeing more abuse of animals? Is there someone keeping statistics about that? Do we really know?
To be honest, I really don't know. That would be like a dog warden question for like Lehigh County, because that's where we're in, not Lehigh County. We're in
Northampton.
No, yeah, we are in Lehigh County.
Lehigh.
Sorry, I live in Northampton, so but the shelters in Lehigh County. The dog warden would have those statistics. Plus, you'd probably have to go through the Lehigh County Humane Society, because they would be the ones that go out and pick up the abused animals or abandoned animals. We are completely publicly funded. We have no affiliation to any city. So any money that you give us goes straight to the animal, the care and welfare of the animals. We don't have any corporate sponsors. We do this on our own.
Where do the animals come from that you take care of in your shelter?
A lot of them are owner surrenders. With the pandemic, a lot of people came in and adopt animals. We were still open, to limited amount. And now the pandemic is mostly over. We finally, we're seeing the animals come back. And that's the sad part of a situation like that. We are going to get some animals from Florida. I just heard yesterday, some of the animals affected by the Hurricane Ian. We did get some animals from Louisiana when we had the issue with Katrina. And we do get animals from the south from high kill shelters. We do have, there are a bunch of dedicated volunteers who all they do is transport animals to other shelters. They'll go down south to say Georgia, Mississippi, anywhere from a high kill shelter, get adoptable dogs, make sure they're healthy and everything, and then they drive them up here, and then that way we get a better selection of available animals. Kittens mainly, because as I said, the local animals are usually pit bull or pit bull mix. And a lot of people don't want that type of dog, even though, like I said, they are amazing animals. Because they love you, they will protect you, they will, if you remember the Little Rascals, Petey was an American ever pit bull. And that dog loved those kids. And when Petey passed, his son took over the spot. So it is all in the matter of how they're raised. If you have a child that's raised in a very bad situation, everything's going to be against him, and it's up to him to rise above it.
Cindy, so if somebody wanted to volunteer as a foster, what would they have? How would they go about doing that?
Basically, all I have to do is contact the shelter.
Okay.
And we will talk to you about what you're willing to do, how much of a commitment you want.
To bring an animal into your house, like to actually foster an animal.
Yeah,
right?
that's we have to
Okay.
ask you, what is your commitment?
Okay.
Are you willing to take the dog for a walk? At least 2 or 3 times a day, because that's what they are. Certain animals do better out of a shelter situation, because the shelter situation is very stressful for some animals. Some don't care. They'll just sit there and not even bark. And then we have others that absolutely just cannot. They go crazy, and for the lack of a better word, especially when you get your pit bull mixes that are sitting there week after week after week, and nobody's even looking at them. That's the reason why we limit our pit bull amounts that we have at the shelter, because it's not fair to them. Most of our pit bulls will go into foster, because it's not fair to them, because it's very mind-blowing for them to be in that kind of situation. And as always, as I recommend, we make sure the animal suits the family. We want to make sure if we have an older dog that loves just to sit at your feet at the fireplace, we'll make sure you get that kind of dog.
What kind of legislation is the Commonwealth currently engaged in to prevent the abundance of animals? Is there work being done against puppy mills? What's happening legislatively to try to?
To be honest, I couldn't answer that question, but I know that we've gotten puppy mill dogs in the past. They are still out there. The Amish, God love them. They are commodities to these people. They have no problem putting an animal down if it doesn't fit their needs or doesn't produce. And I can't tell people enough, don't buy a dog. Adopt a dog. Because if you buy, you're supporting that type of environment. You go in, I know there's a puppy place on Union Boulevard that's in Allentown, and it says puppies and puppies, and I want to stop and ask them where they get their puppies, because if it's a puppy mill, oh my God, you just don't know unless you've seen the effects of what happens to puppy mill dogs. Their feet never touch ground. I've seen the videos on Facebook and YouTube of, say, all these beagles that came in. If you've heard about the beagles, a lot of these dogs never touched grass before, and they're absolutely terrified of grass because they don't know what it is. And I'm not a vegan. I like a good steak. I'm from Texas, okay, we love our barbecue. But I want everything humanely taken care of. That's our job. We, as stewards of this world, and this is our world to be a steward of, we have to be there for them who don't have a voice for themselves. It is our job, no matter how small or how much you can do, every little bit helps. If you make things and give them to the shelter so we can give to our cats like little toys, or if you bake cookies for the dogs, anything to make their life easier. Everything, we appreciate every little thing. The kids who don't do birthday presents anymore, they do shelter donations. Or people who do Christmas presents, instead of doing Christmas presents, they do things for the shelter. We see this every year. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that don't. And I'm trying to get more young people involved. The kids are involved. The little ones are involved because they love their animals. It's some of the middle age or those who don't know how to give back to the community. That's what we're trying to teach our volunteers. Give back as much as you possibly can because it's going to come back to you double-fold.
Do you have a dog cookie recipe on your website?
No, we don't.
Well,
But all you have to do is Google. I mean, there are recipes. I love Google. You can Google anything.
Is there a list of the kinds of things people can donate?
Absolutely.
Like
I have a list up here.
blankets?
It's our wish list.
Oh, okay, your wish list, perfect.
We have our wish list. I have a copy of it right here. If
Okay.
you go up to our website, it's up there. We have donation buttons up there to help us. If you don't want to send a check in the mail, because I know postage is crazy these days. And you can do it online. Everything we can mostly do online. If you want to adopt a dog, our applications are online. The internet is wonderful. We have a Facebook presence, and you can see the dogs we have available for adoption on Facebook. Facebook is wonderful because anybody who donates through Facebook, you get 100%. If you go through, who else? YouTube donations are 100%. So anything through the internet is cream gravy to us. I know that's a southern speak, yeah. Huh?
I get you.
So we're always looking for volunteers, and any age. If you have small kids, you can come in with them and visit the cat room, as long as have the parent or guardian there that can watch them. Because even the cats, even though most of them are very loving, if you pet them too much, they, okay, that's enough. And we don't want anybody hurt. And the dogs, you don't put your fingers in a cage because, yes, they look friendly and everything, but they're also in a very stressful situation and they might nip. So we would, but we do have outside runs, dog runs, that you can take a dog outside and play with them. Like I said, our dogs get walked 3 times a day. Amazing group of volunteers start at 6 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, 3 times a day. We would love to have more people at 6 o'clock in the morning. So if you're a morning person and you want to do something good for the community, I'm not a morning person, never have been.
I know youth are wonderful to get involved and looking for that young group. Lehigh Valley is increasingly a place for retirement, so just know you may have a much better or broader luck with our older population?
Oh, I know. Most of our truly dedicated volunteers are basically 50 and up. Because they know the commitment, they understand the commitment, and they know what they're doing is making a soul. Every animal has a soul, I'm sorry. All dogs go to heaven. All cats go wherever their cats go.
Wherever they want.
Whatever they want, when they want. If you look in their eyes, when you see a dog that has came from a bad situation, and they're grateful, believe it or not, they are grateful. They may be scared at first, and you have to kind of get them, their personality to come out. But once you look in their eyes and they see someone who's going to pet them, love them, it's falling in love. It's like falling in love. They're falling in love with you. And when they fall in love with you, they will never leave you alone. I have a beautiful mama cat that I'm fostering, and I can't go anywhere without her. She's like here, there. I mean, I love that cat. She's crazy. And when at 6 o'clock in the morning, time to eat. At 8 o'clock at night, time to go to bed. But give me my snack before I go to bed. But you never know the love until you have the love of an animal. Because they are totally devoted to you. Once they realize they're safe, once they realize they're loved, once they realize they have a home, there's no other feeling in the world to a human knowing that someone is so totally devoted to you that they will do anything for you. They will protect you. They will sleep with you. They will knock you out of bed. They will be your companion. And I believe God made animals where they didn't live as long because they already know the true value of life. They live in the moment. They don't think about yesterday. They don't think about tomorrow. They live in the moment. And that's the reason why God made them. They don't live as long because they already know the drill. And they do that knowing that you're going to get somebody up. I've had many animals who have passed, but I go right out and get another one because I know another one needs the help too. Yes, I still cry for my 15-year-old cat when he passed, but I went out and started volunteering by fostering kittens, and I haven't stopped since. Because once you have that sweet thing in your life is never the same. And it's always for the better. Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you.
That was great.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate the work that Peaceful Kingdom is doing and you sharing that with us. Cindy does have more information with her. She has flyers. She has a copy of the wish list. So if you want to come up, feel free to come up and get that information as well.
Or if you have additional questions pertaining to a particular animal or anything, I'm here for anybody else.
Just know if you have a pet, it lowers your blood pressure.
Absolutely.
And weight. That right? Health, right? Weight and health, right? There's a health benefit.
And if you have a dog, you have to take it out for a walk. So it's a health. You can get healthy walking dogs. And we would love to have more people to come out and walk dogs. Our dogs.
Yes.
Like I said, 3 times a day. And I'm used to, we've had several people who just come in no matter what, not even on a shift, and take a dog that, we know it's a volunteer, and they'll take the dog out for a park, a dog park, let them run, let them have fun. I used to take one out and go to McDonald's and get the little hamburger. Anything to make their life more.
So Cindy, if somebody came and volunteered to walk, are they walking on your property or are they taking the dog somewhere else?
It depends.
Okay.
Depending on the animal, certain little dogs will just walk around the building. But the larger dogs, we have the
Park,
park,
Jordan Park.
Jordan Park.
Jordan Park,
A lot of dogs during the summer gets
Yeah.
taken down to Jordan Park and they get to walk in the stream, get to have fun. Yeah. Get to be a
Okay.
dog.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
so much, Cindy.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.